Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the Mystery School. Thanks for tuning in. Tonight we have Shea Richie on the keyboard, Chris Arnett on the guitar, and then a little bit later in the night, Patrick Tice comes by and plays some bass. So I screwed up the intro to this one, so we're coming straight in with music, and then we got some talking coming up after. But thanks for tuning in. I'm Tony Eddlemon, and Dustin Burton is playing the drums. I'm playing guitar. We start this one out with a little Neil Young tune. Chris is singing, and then I sing a few later. So cool.
Look out, mama, there's a white boat coming up the river with a big red flag and a man on the rail. I think you better call John, 'cause it don't look like they're here to deliver the mail. And they're less than a mile away, and I hope they didn't come to stay. It's got numbers on the side and a gun, and it's making big waves. Daddy's gone and my brother's out hunting in the mountain. Big John's been drinking since the river took Emmylou. So the powers that be left me here to do the thinking. When I just turned 22, I was wondering what to do. The closer they got, the more those feelings grew. Daddy's rifle in my hand, it felt reassuring. He told me red means run, son. Numbers don't add up to nothing. But when the first shot hit the dot, I saw it coming. I raised my rifle to my eye, never stopped to wonder why. Then I saw black and my face flashed in the sky. Tony or Shea solo.
In the end know it all. Burns to the ground, then comes up again. In the end, I know it all. Burns to the ground, then comes up again. He's in the sun, looks from the one, and it keeps the waves breaking. Not again now. In the end, I know it all.
Dorn's like,
We were coming in clean on that too.
what's up, Patrick? That's all we're doing the whole time. Helium 2. Cheers, everybody. D.
where the sun sets on the ocean and the hills are green and golden. Where do those windmills blow? Where the sun sets on the ocean and the hills are green and golden. Where do those windmills blow? Up here it reminded me of this stick man someone slew. Cheers next to 57. The highway is your girlfriend as you go by. Quick suburban speed, suburban trees, and it smells like heaven. I said road runner once, road runner twice. I'm in love with rock and roll, and I'll be out all night. Road Radio 1. Radio 1. Radio 1. Radio 1. That's right. Here we are, back.
We're here again.
Welcome back to the Mystery School. We've just jammed.
Wow.
Patrick Tice on the bass for the second half.
Bassist extraordinaire.
Shea Richie, keyboard all night. You're never going to know what he played because I heard a lot of weird sounds. Some sounds were synthy, some were organy, some were
Is that a synth?
Wurlitzery.
Can you do
Wurlitzery.
We're making up.
Wurlitzery.
right now.
Chris Arnett on the guitar.
Some guitar sounds.
Always a Fender.
Mason guitar
Fender
noises.
man.
Or Fender, sorry.
There's
Always
been
a Gibson
few
guitar and a
trainer-
a
yeah.
Fender amp.
It's been a trainer episode here and there.
Dustin Burton
Not much.
on the drums. Always. Never will play anything other than the house set because he doesn't like to bring stuff around.
Yeah. I got my good cymbals here and the
Way
good snare
too much
drum
work.
here. Just
Not true, actually. Dustin would gladly switch in and out a set, but I'm like, come on, man, just play this set.
I
like
did
this
for
set.
years, like carrying back and forth kit.
I always liked this set though.
Yeah, finally,
It always does sound pretty good.
it is.
So
So
Yeah.
what is that thing?
it's
It's a
the
good old Ludwig,
Ludwig,
maple
yeah.
Ludwig.
set, like the late 70s.
Yeah. If you can have a house set, that's the key, where it stays in place, because then you're not changing the mics each time or even the position, and you can just let it sit.
And a drummer will actually come over.
Pretty much, yeah. I can just leave my good shit here, and then, I can walk in with my stick bag, and if I need to, I can grab a cymbal or two here and there. Or
Do you
good
keep
pedal.
a kit set up at your house?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have two.
Do you play pretty much like daily?
all day.
Not daily, but probably every other day.
That's cool.
Yeah.
He just stops when the police show up at night and then starts again when they leave.
I'm kind of self-conscious about it because you're like with your neighbor.
You're in like a suburban neighborhood,
Pretty
right?
much, yeah.
Yeah.
My neighbors are pretty cool, and I'm on a corner a lot. But especially when you're like woodshedding and like playing riffs, like not beats. If you want to just do like you're working on like a 7-stroke, like it could get like annoying to people, like because it's not going anywhere. So
Competitive, yeah.
sometimes you try to start working, and you're like, all right, I'll just do a beat, and like show them like,
Yeah, I know.
okay, I'm not just like a kid in here making noise.
Yeah, it's different
like,
playing a loud instrument
yeah.
versus like practicing a quiet instrument.
But like
I had
Jocko,
a set of drums twice in my life, and I always got rid of them. One, because you could never keep them set up anywhere where you can access them all the time because they're loud as fuck. Or, they just you could
Push
rent a
to
place
carry 'em
and
around.
leave them set up, but that's expensive. And then they're just too fucking loud.
well, I've learned to mentally practice. Like Jaco Pastorius said, like he's like, I don't need my bass to like rehearse. Like when I'm on a plane, he can like mentally picture the fretboard and like see the notes and like I do that all day long with like patterns or when we have new songs. Like I work shit out in my head. I don't have to be behind a kit, you know. I've done it enough, and like I can work patterns out and like make progress in like the song, like, and then I can go down and like do it.
People ever complain when you're talking to them and they could tell you're working on a song?
They might like, why are you so distracted? There's a far off look in your eye.
Why is your foot tapping?
I'm like tapping my foot or something.
You just do it when you're in a meeting, dude.
I do have a far off. Yeah,
You're all like this in the meeting.
yeah. So I'm always thinking about music and like analyzing that stuff. So I do have a far off look in my eye sometimes.
Do you capitalize on like leaf blower time, like in your neighborhood?
I like to do my yard working.
You
and
hear
stuff.
somebody like blowing some leaves.
Oh,
and you're like, let me jump on the kit real quick.
Do you do beats on your teeth?
No, I've tried not to do that because that's like compulsive and stuff. Like I like to not my
Just
teeth
do
away.
everything you can to look like a normal person.
My dentist asked me if I would grind my teeth, and I don't. Although I think I do in my sleep, but
Yeah,
I always do beats on my teeth.
I might. Yeah, but I'm always moving or shaking. It's like the pulse of the universe, man.
Moving and shaking.
Yeah.
I do like this steering wheel drumming, I think, the most. That's my thing.
Two
But from a,
fingers on the
like-
dashboard. Or
Yeah.
you actually do the
Yeah,
the drumming.
Nah, just like the.
I'm surprised how many people I see driving that have drumsticks in their car that actually like
That would be
hit
cool.
the steering wheel.
I
I've
should
seen it a
probably.
few times,
I
actually.
see it quite a bit.
See, that's the opposite of the practice I was just trying to talk about, like it's mental practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
unsafe.
dangerous practice.
And it's almost
Yeah.
like where it's perfect pitch too. Like where if you
That
hear a
does
note, you
sound
should be able
like
to picture
mental
where it is on the fretboard or on the kit. So like you can really imagine your fingering and stuff in your head. Like you just have to practice.
Use these
the
same
imagination.
techniques when you talk to your teachers at school. Like, I do homework in my head.
I never get an opportunity.
Show
There's
me
no
your
paperwork.
notes. Listen to my podcast.
Do it all in
There's
my
there's my notes.
Yeah, man. I wish I could do that.
Your boss is like, where's all the paperwork? I did it all in my head.
I
It's
know.
all in my head.
Yeah.
That's like the hardest thing to do. Like, keep track of anything in your head. The least rewarding. You don't get anything for doing that. It's like you could, keep track of everybody wants the evidence,
Well, if you have the recall of like being able to
Yeah, you
tie the evidence
gotta
together.
document it. You might as well just document it at the beginning.
Well, yeah. So you got to bring a full like ream of paper. But I think if you just can remember the facts and state them logically, and people you can go check that out, back it up. If you remember the facts, hey, I don't know. There's something to be said for storing shit in your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot more
Keeps it
economical.
strong, right?
It's efficient.
The muscle memory or whatever. Memory
Yeah,
muscle.
you don't got to carry around fucking drumsticks when you drive.
I got a fairly poor
It's fucking
memory.
efficient.
Yeah, mine's fading, I think, already at my ripe old age of.
Do you guys ever
39.
picture you're playing guitar in your brain, like with your finger?
I wish I could, man. I'm
drive
fucking
around?
always like worrying about somebody's email breaking or some shit at my job, because I'm like, in support, customer
Well, it's only during the
service.
day,
Yeah.
Like, what about when you shut the radio off and driving to work?
Then I'm
You're
just
like,
listening
fucking-
to music mostly and trying to figure out what they're doing.
No, turn off. When
Oh.
you turn off, you just turn off the radio and just like,
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea. I could do that.
yeah. I forget to do that once, like every now and then. But like that's the only silent time sometimes. Like you just turn off the fucking radio when you're driving to work. And just like, it's like,
I don't even drive to work. I take a bus and I just sleep. It's fucking awesome, actually.
I forget sometimes. I'm always listening to music or like talk radio. And it's just
Yeah.
like always something going and like you just turn it
Yeah, it's
off
nice
and
to
then you
have a
can
little silence.
Afternoon
picture
show
that
comes
shit.
on 98 Rock now. I have no problem turning it off.
Yeah. Just all useless chatter, like the chatter in your head already. Like focus on something important.
Yeah.
But I've always liked from like when I was a kid, I would hear a note and like picture it where
My iPod
It was.
broke in my truck, so I think I might have to get a new stereo to actually stream music from my phone now.
I know
It's not a bad
iPods are
thing.
kind of like a thing of the past. People like see my iPod, they're like, "Whoa, look how old that is!" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Dude, it's not that old. It's like
Because if
5
in
years
order
ago."
to-
Is it a
if
dial?
your iPod broke, now the only way to get back to your old music collection.
That music collection was like 2 computers ago. I don't
So
even
you're-
have that
you're-
library,
you
so
have
now
to
I have
back-
to start all over
Now
from
you just go to
something.
Spotify and stream.
Yeah,
That's what you
exactly.
can do. Yeah.
I actually have like a massive hard drive of music still. So.
Me too.
But
I
you
I
can-
have all intentions of
Yeah.
going through all my CDs and converting it. I just
There you go.
haven't done it yet.
You can copy your iTunes library
just
and
recommend
onto like a
getting Spotify
Yeah,
for 10
yeah,
bucks a
upload.
month to anybody.
I've kind of done
Yeah.
that, and I don't really ever listen to my music that I had.
You just have to do Spotify only. It
I
sounds
just,
good.
pretty much.
You can do
yeah.
high fidelity. If you want to store music on your phone, you can even download it onto your phone.
Yeah.
Like if you need to. Or-
I've had it for a few years. I'm not going back probably.
I have Rhapsody.
Yeah. It's
They seem to have more new
I've got
albums
CD.
than Spotify.
It's cool.
Or now it's Napster.
I did
Bought 'em
enjoy.
out.
We went snowboarding, and I enjoyed listening to, like, you have your CD, and like it reminded me of my old CD collection I had. like,
the CD case?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we-
yeah.
I had all.
That's cool.
You had a lot of the CDs I had back from when I had CDs, and it was great just flipping through that thing, pulling out Anti-Flag.
That
and-
wasn't even the big case.
That's
I
fun.
Oh
I got
shit!
the
Why'd you
mem-
hold
remember.
back? Your CD player still works, right?
Yeah. No,
Also-
I just grabbed that one and threw a bunch of CDs in to
Also,
fill it
I
up.
will say, you got a subwoofer, so this thing pumps. We're on our way to snowboarding. It's also hella snowy. A couple of cars in front of us slid right into the side of the
the
wall.
bank.
Oh,
Yeah,
dang.
Just,
Like-
they weren't even driving. They
They were
just
going
they were
slow.
going and they started
In-
sliding
in
and then
slow
there was no
motion.
stopping.
Right into the. It was like
How
going
far
across
in?
an icy bridge.
Oh.
Kind of up, you know.
They
the
were
icy
up. It
bridges
was a
going up
bank
on
turn,
Elm?
so they were up too high on the bank turn and they just slid right off.
Oh wow.
They were on the
What's that,
left
Nyack?
lane,
Yeah, nice.
and they're just,
Just
going
past that
slow.
Nyack gas station.
And then we just watch people in slow motion, right to the wall. It's like, dang, that's gonna suck for them. And then we were out of there.
My truck slid a couple times too.
That's true.
Speaking of which, this last weekend,
Probably before that, we even like got a little out of control, right?
so this, yeah, I think 2 or 3 times it slid out. More than I've never really slid out in that thing.
It was an icy day.
This past weekend, I was going up to Mendocino County to check it. I was going to photograph this oak tree. It's the tallest, biggest oak tree in California, but this type only grows in California, so the world. Huge tree. And I left Friday night, like 9:30, because I wanted to get up there before the sunrise.
Uh-huh.
And I'm crossing
Friday
over-
night at 9:30.
I left at 9:30.
Pulling an
Friday night.
all-nighter, getting ready to
Well,
catch
it was
a
like a 4.5 hour drive. So
Okay.
I wanted to get there in
We're
time
gonna-
to
we're
catch a
gonna
couple
sleep.
hours sleep in the back
just
of my truck.
okay.
So I could wake up and
Pull an all-nighter and just pop.
So I get on this back road and see the 60 miles next service, and it's taking me through Mendocino Forest up in the hills in the middle of fucking nowhere. No big deal. Driving, having some beers. It's like 2:30 in the morning, and I hit snow, and just like a little snow patch, blasted through it. There was another one, hit that one, then I come to another one that's a little longer, and I'm just going for it, not even thinking, and I got my truck stuck. And I'm fucking 30 miles from the last place I saw people.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I start trying to dig myself out at 2:30 in the morning, not getting anywhere. So I'm like, shit, let me try and sleep for an hour or two and I'll get back at it. Couldn't sleep because my car is like kind of on an angle, so I'm just sliding in the back. So I get out again and I start trying to dig it. I put it in reverse. I get up front, pop the hood, like try and push it as I hit the throttle. Not getting there. I had to fucking hike 19 miles starting at 5:30 in the morning
Hold on here.
until I finally saw somebody who picked me up, luckily, and was driving a Jeep and could pull me out. I was in the middle of fucking nowhere.
You were parked out. You're just stuck. A road
in the middle
like
of
logging road?
5,600 feet on this dirt forest road from like I-5 to Mendocino in the middle of fucking nowhere. No service.
You hiked 19 miles.
19 miles.
How long does that take?
Jeez.
It took me 5 hours.
This is
It's like a survival story.
It was not. I didn't stop.
We start the podcast with this.
Yeah, I didn't. It took me 5 hours.
You just hiked.
Is that why you only have one
I had
arm?
no choice. I had no fucking choice. There was no.
This is a real survival story.
And
Yeah,
I
pretty
had
much.
to. I started hiking like 5:30 in the morning. I'm way the fuck out in the middle of nowhere, and
Yeah,
the only
any
thing I'm
food or
thinking of
anything?
is mountain
Water?
lions. I had food, yeah. Well,
What'd you have? Let's hear about the rations.
I had 4 of those Lara bars, 1 apple, 1 banana, and 22 ounces of water.
not a
That's
lot.
not a lot of water, but
No.
food
Better
seems
get-
like sounds pretty good.
Did you take it all with
I
you
could
for
take
the
that
hike?
right now. I'm starving.
So,
That's just what I had there. No, I had fucking beer and cheese and salami and all
car.
that shit back at the car.
How long do you think you were gonna hike when you set out foot?
It was, I think I told you 30 miles. It was 25 miles from where I was
You
to
knew how.
where I knew I was fucked. I
Yeah.
either had to hike 25 miles or hopefully I was going to see somebody. I saw somebody at 18.9 miles.
So
And
you're
luckily
gonna,
they were in a Jeep.
And
you're
luckily
gonna
they weren't
invest in a
scared of
winch
you.
now, right? Or would it have even helped you?
It definitely would have helped me, but if I would have had a shovel with me, which I
Yeah.
normally have a shovel with me,
Yeah.
I would have been able to get out, but I didn't have one. I'm fucking trying to dig myself out with a lid from a protein powder jar and a piece of Tupperware. It was fucked.
Oh, that sounds so symbolic of working out. You're like, you need your muscles.
Need all my strength.
And then you're stuck digging yourself out with
Yeah.
a protein lid.
Yeah, it was
How'd you
fucked
get
up.
the people to stop? Did you like wave them down, or did they?
Yeah, I waved
you're
them
like,
down.
Yo,
I did
man,
the 2-hand wave,
were
you
you
know,
like,
the one where I mean business.
yes, somebody.
Did you, like, get
yeah.
in front of them?
Oh, no.
But you just
it
like,
was
were
just,
going up, like
yeah, no, they were cool. They stopped. They had their dog. They were heading up for the day. Yeah, it was
like
fucked
10:30 in the morning by that time.
up. It was 11:30. Yep.
Fucking
Wow.
beat or what? Were you were you ever to the point like, fuck, dude?
I was having to talk to myself. Yeah.
Yeah,
No one's coming to get you.
yeah.
Just keep walking.
Did you
don't
make any
stop.
video? No. Last video
No,
edits or
I didn't do
nothing
that.
like that? No, you weren't quite to
I
that.
did make some videos when I got back in my truck and I was back on track though.
Yeah.
So look, I want to hear about some of the most intense parts for you. Were there some
yeah, the
parts
Fuck
where you
yeah, there
got
was
ti-
intense.
Were there some parts where you were like getting
You had to get
Like-
gotten pissed.
were you like,
I mean,
Well,
no doubt.
it was just really stupid because if I would have had a shovel, I probably would have been out in an hour.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a shovel because I wasn't thinking that I was going to hit snow. I didn't know I was going to climb 5,600
you
feet.
yell some swear words and kick some tires and do any of that?
No,
You kept her cool and
yeah,
You
I
couldn't
had some
even
good
cram
beers though, and
shit.
I had to stop
Yeah.
drinking them.
oh yeah.
Ah,
If you
I
would have
wasn't-
waited there, would anyone have come and found you? Or
No,
not up there, probably.
no.
where you
is it
were,
kind
you
of
had
logging
to.
road?
I had to get myself out, or I had to hike.
Yeah, there was nobody was coming there anytime soon.
There was no tracks on the road, no except for mine. Like it was, this is way out in the middle of nowhere. And I go out a lot. I've never been on a road that desolate before. And yeah, no, it was intense.
A shovel was all you needed, huh?
Shovel would have got me out. Yep.
Did you at least get a picture?
You know, that's funny. I didn't.
Did you go home after you got out?
No. No, I got out and I'm like, well, shit, I missed this.
Oh,
The
you missed
sunrise.
sunrise, you're hiking.
Yeah.
I'll go for the sunset. And so I fucking drove back down and went around and
You
came
went a
up.
different
But I was
route?
up like 42 hours straight. And yeah, it was kind of fucked up.
That's cool. You were bended but not broken. You still decided to
I
go
was
drive
determined.
back to see the sunset. That's fucking gnarly. You didn't just
Yeah.
book it home.
No, I had it planned. yeah, it was.
That is a cool story. It,
No, we were.
it sucks, but like,
Sounds
You
like
know,
it sucks
you-
really bad.
yeah, but you.
It did suck really
I
bad.
don't want to experience that.
Oh no, it sounds horrible, but it's like one of the. It's like a movie.
I'd
like,
get to. It's like the
It's
hero's
like our
journey. kinda
version of the Donner
experience.
Party, but you made it out.
Do you feel like you set yourself up for that for some reason? To like experience it? And like, did you want to like, no?
Just kind of
Just
It's good to know that I
just
could,
random shit
that I
that
can get
happened.
myself out if I have to.
Yeah.
But it sucked. It just before
Man.
the sun comes up. You know, I'm in the middle of the forest and I'm thinking mountain lions, and I saw like at least 15 deer right out. You know, right off the road, and here I am.
Any weapons?
I had a pocket knife,
How big?
4-inch blade.
Not that big.
No,
It's not gonna help.
no.
it
And
might-
it's funny you say that because I had it in my pocket, and I'm like, okay. The mountain lion jumps at me. I just have to time it right to get him in the fucking head or the neck or something.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do really precise.
Yeah, then I'm
Yeah.
like, well, shit, now I'm in Mendocino County. Is the fucking cartel gonna, you know,
Oh, you had
Oh.
stop me with
Oh,
machine
yeah.
guns and shit?
Sure, yeah, wandering
cartel
through
fears
some.
too. You didn't even mention that.
Yeah, all
We're
those
going-
fears that go through your head.
Be- going this
Bear, actually, bears are the least of my worries. Mountain lions and cartel are my number 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Mountain Lion 1, Cartel 2,
Yeah,
and you didn't see neither.
I didn't see anybody
Got lucky.
except for
Wow.
that Jeep. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was a
man.
fucked up day, but it could have gotten a lot. It could have been a lot worse because I was at the point when I saw them that I tried to take a break, like a 5-minute break, but my muscles were just going to cramp up if I
Oh,
stayed
really?
there, and so I just had to keep going.
You.
Damn.
Oh wow.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's a long...
18.9 miles when you're not expecting to walk 18.9 miles. will
What kind of
fuck your
shoes
legs
did you
up.
have on?
I have my hiking boots
Oh,
on.
good.
And another thing that probably wasn't good is I was trying to make good time, so I was running part of it with those heavy boots on, and
Shit.
that probably tore my legs up more than should have been. But yep, that's my fucked up story. I don't even know how we got onto that. Oh, we
I
were
don't
sliding
know,
on the
but-
snow on the freeway going snowboarding with the
Yeah.
subwoofer pumping.
Yeah. Quite the opposite of stories.
I had the subwoofer pumping when I got stuck in the snow.
So, when you
It-
got pulled out, how were you feeling then?
I was feeling
Were you feeling
great.
pumped up?
Like, yeah, it was.
Like how?
I was back on track. I only
Good
lost.
rush.
Did you feel? Yeah. Was that like a? You know. At
You
that
felt pumped
point,
up enough?
cars for you?
I immediately turned myself
Pound of
around,
beer?
said thanks to the
Pound of
guys,
beer.
pulled over, packed a bowl, and grabbed one of the beers that I wanted to keep drinking when I initially got myself into that.
Is that like the biggest one of the biggest reliefs of many years of your
Yeah,
life?
it
The
was
tastiest
It was
beer.
a good feeling, and I still was able to continue on because if I would have done it later in the day, I probably would have just gone home.
Yeah.
In fact, I was planning on going home because I didn't think somebody was going to pick me up. And I saw the sign right before a couple miles before I got picked up to where I had to go, and it was still like 7 miles away.
Yeah.
So
Oh, fuck.
it was fucked up.
That's crazy.
It's pretty epic,
Wow.
man.
It was a hard lesson learned. Get out.
The small things.
Check the snow
You just need
first.
a shovel.
No, I probably would have made
you
it
have a
if it was
shovel now?
cooler snow, but it was that slushy snow because it's been getting sun on it.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I sank
okay.
right in it, and then just a couple spins on the tires, and it heated it up, and it just turned that snow to ice. And so
what
my
was
tires
the
were
little
just
snow
sitting there
patch
spinning.
like when you came on it? How large was the snow patch?
Lengthwise, probably 100 feet, but depth probably 18 inches.
And you were thinking I'm gonna cruise.
Oh
right
yeah, I
over
just
it.
Yeah,
went
plow
for
through.
it.
And then
And then it piled up against my differential in the back a little bit. and just
you
created-
started sinking in and
Well, then my tires started spinning, and then that
Could
heated
you-
up the snow and turned it to ice, and then
could you have done it by more speed or anything, or would you you just couldn't have made it through?
looking back at it, once I got out, it was pretty stupid to try and go through it.
It wasn't.
It was bigger than my Xterra. I shouldn't have done that. That was pretty dumb.
Would a truck with bigger tires have made it through, or still no?
I would have thought so, but the Jeep that pulled me out, he was like, well, you want to go through it and see, how good it is? And so he was going to blow through it too. And I got in his Jeep with him, and he got stuck too. We had to dig him out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So,
So
just was like a bad, just
it
probably the wrong
was just that
temperature and all
wet,
Yeah, the temp-
Yeah.
melted snow that can't hold you up. And when it
Quicksand.
compacts, it just liquefies, and then you spin the tires, and it just turns it to ice.
Tahoe quicksand.
Yep.
That's a good one.
That's exactly what it was.
And that's what our band is called tonight.
This was Mendocino quicksand, though.
Yeah, Mendocino.
But it's just like Tahoe quicksand, same shit.
Same.
That's a better name. I like that. Wow, that's crazy. I've been stranded, but not in the snow. Like not in some desolate place.
That was the worst I've ever
That's
been
fucked
stranded.
up. 20 miles out. That's crazy. 22 ounces of water. That's the big problem.
When I got picked up, though, and I only had half of I still had like
You were
half of the water.
rationing it, too.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, you were
rationing
doing
it a lot.
It was like
full-on
that
ration,
scene in The
22
Good, the Bad, and the
ounces, you
Ugly.
still had half. You
My
were
hands
hella
were getting
thirsty.
tingly when I was walking at certain
Oh,
points.
really?
Yeah.
Fuck. Damn.
I can't believe you had that much water left. I would have drank it all for sure.
You got a ration, dude.
And then altitude sickness with rising.
Well, I
up,
was going
with your
downhill,
hands tingling,
luckily.
because
But
you
it was
came
like-
up.
And I would have had
It would
4
go down and
beers.
then up
just
and then
like
down and then
run
up and then
carry
it
along
finally
with
would.
me, hanging off my.
Don't drive your vehicle through the snow unless you're fully equipped.
It's one of the best. That's the best story we've ever had.
Shovel back in.
Not yet. It will be though.
That's yeah. That's the main
I
way.
never
At least
take a
before your
shovel.
next journey,
Yeah,
huh?
we should have brought a shovel probably when we went up to
Probably.
that fucking
Thanks for
blizzard.
telling us the story.
Yeah.
We would have never made it 20 miles.
Oh fuck, we would have been dead. But we would have ran into somebody.
We were
before then,
on a
but-
more busy highway, but we wouldn't have made it
Yeah.
that far.
Yeah, we
I
would
had
have made it.
4 or 5 miles in me, probably.
Who would have made it the farthest? Or
You
me?
probably.
Like, all right, man, you gotta let me nibble on your leg. I'm hungry.
I'd end up. You'd have to go because I didn't
Mia
have
would
to
have
stay
died
with.
first for
I'd
sure.
have to stay with Mia, and you'd go.
Yeah, I'd be like, sorry guys.
Part of the excitement
go
about it
on
was
and-
not knowing how far I was walking, but just walking and trying to figure out, like, I wonder how far I've walked. I've had to have walked like 10 miles. And then once I got picked up, I had them reset their tripometer back to my truck.
How far did you think you had made it?
I walked
12?
further than I
Yeah.
thought. I
Yeah.
thought I
Oh,
walked
really?
12 to 15, and it was 18.9.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Fuck.
When you started, you were thinking you're going to walk 24 miles. Is that-
Yeah.
like, all right, about to
Marathon.
do an unpracticed
Yeah.
marathon.
Yep.
Damn.
Dustin, you should walk home. It goes a long way
Yeah.
tonight to
About 18
experience-
miles.
to experience what Patrick went through.
Yeah.
All right. I'll give it a try. In honor.
You'll regret it.
Yeah.
Did you get blisters on your feet?
Yeah, how long did
all
it take
of
you to recover from,
but too, my
feel it.
toenails are purple
Oh,
from like the
man.
altitude too?
and fall off.
Yeah.
Wow.
Shit.
Yeah, they're fucked up. And then I kicked the.
Did you have cell phone service or anything? It wasn't
No.
working. And when you got back and you got cell phone service, and you called home,
I didn't get cell phone service until 50 miles. It was 50
your family
miles.
would have never known what happened to you if you never would have got out.
Somebody knew where I was. Well, they knew like a range. No, nobody would have known.
If you wouldn't have found some people, got out of there. Yeah.
I was preparing before the Jeep came to.
Smoke signals.
No, but there were a couple airplanes that I was looking to, but I knew that wasn't going to do anything. But no, I was preparing. I was going to have to sleep on the side of the road and continue on the next day because my legs were shot.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have made it the full 25 miles.
Uh-huh.
So were the people that picked you up like cool? Did they seem like
Oh,
they
yeah,
were
they
like
were
guardian
totally cool.
angels or something, or kind of like
they were
weird shit
They were
like
cool.
that?
They were probably a couple my age and their dog.
You
Yeah.
like Facebook friends now and stuff?
But
Why
I
were
told
they
them,
out-
I'm like, man, I am so excited to see you two right now. And they're like, you okay? And I said, yeah, I got my truck stuck in the snow. He's like, well, I got a shovel. You think that'll work? And I said, probably, but I don't know how far back I am. I know I'm pretty far back there. I'd hate to just go there with a shovel and have it not work. I said, would you mind going down the hill a little bit and get some rope? So I paid him $40 and we went and grabbed a rope and went back.
Dang.
Pulled me out.
How nervous do you think they were that you were a serial killer?
Well, they told me on the way there. They're like, yeah, she normally doesn't let me stop for anybody, but you know, come just I don't know.
Did they say why they were out there? Like they just happened to take a
They were
turn
going
down that road?
No, they were going to. They were from the area, kind of,
Yeah.
and they were up there doing their thing. But they're like, yeah, we come up here, and you know, for this reason, in case you know we see somebody who needs some help or something like that. But
You think you're lucky you don't look like me?
no, I didn't think
You
that.
don't look that menacing.
I've got this big
You got
beard.
the curly locks.
I'd probably just let me die.
You would let yourself die.
They probably just
I don't know.
think you're out there, like, you know, watching a weed garden or something. They would have helped you.
Just watching the snow melt.
It was an unnerving experience. That's all.
It's like on the Goonies when Chunk finally gets
I thought
help
about Chunk.
in the Fratellis. Remember? Do you remember the Goonies?
I don't. Oh, I do, but I don't remember.
He finally gets a car. He gets out, gets a car. Help, help. And then it's the same people he's running from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy, man.
But you were just trying to get your car out, so that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, and I had probably like $4,000 of camera gear in there in a truck that's worth like $1,000 at best. But once I walked that first mile, I was like, "There's nobody's gonna fucking mess with my shit.
What
There's
about,
nobody out here?"
Yeah.
Mountain people, Deliverance.
I don't know.
Did that cross your mind or no?
No,
Just the cartel.
Just
Nah,
mountain
just the
lions and
cartel.
cartel.
Not in
is the only thing
California.
on my mind.
You got to be in, like,
And then I would,
Arkansas.
and then the phantom engine noises started, where I'm like,
I hear something.
That'd be the worst.
but then you stop walking, and then you listen, and it's just
A weird,
silent.
weird wind.
It's something in my backpack, I think.
Mirage.
it
It's
was-
a mirage, an audio mirage.
It was fucked up. Fucked up 5 hours. 7 hours, actually.
You
All
could
right.
have listened to
Great.
this podcast in that time. That's how long we've probably been recording. No.
Yeah.
Not
Download
that
it to keep you company.
long. Eye of the Tiger on repeat just to keep you going.
That would have definitely helped.
If you only had a cassette tape player.
Anybody got a story that can beat that one?
And you want to try right now?
I got nothing.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I've only been stranded, but there, like where I got stranded, there was people, but they just like didn't help.
I had
They were
one.
assholes.
Had one kind of
That's like
I don't know.
You're not as
You're like-
worried then.
Yeah,
Because you're like, they're not going to let me die.
we thought we were gonna have to spend the night. I drove my truck like to the swimming hole up Highway 70, like the Feather River Canyon, and we were coming back, and I just had all this work done on my truck. It was a 4Runner, and paid this guy to do all this shit to it. It was an old 4Runner, like an 80s model.
You thought you can climb anything or what?
No, I mean, I just thought it was, mechanically sound. So I was like, didn't have
Fuck
any
it, let's
worries
go to
about
the
it.
Swimming hole.
So I went up to the swimming hole, had a great time, was coming back, following some friends, and all of a sudden my temperature gauge just pegged. I was like, what the fuck? And my truck just started putting out, and so basically what happened was I lost all of my belts, because one belt snapped. The guy didn't replace any of my belts, and he was supposed to tune my whole truck up, So he didn't look at he did a lot of work to it, but didn't look at the belts. It's
All the
basic
belts,
shit.
yeah.
One belt came off, and it took off all the belts. There's a 3-pulley system or whatever, a 3-belt system, and so my truck overheated. I was fucked. It was I watched my friends speed off in front of me.
Didn't stop?
And me and my buddy Jeff were just no, they didn't even see. I had to pull over, but
They didn't come back?
no, they were just off. They just
were
thought
gone?
we
What
lagged or something behind. And so we were up in the Feather River Canyon, on the side of the road, and a couple of dudes, and unlike you, they thought we were fuck ups or something, so nobody would stop for us. We were trying to hitchhike to somewhere. And so
I didn't really give those people much of an option.
Yeah.
When they drove by, I was flagging them down
we
hard.
should have
Did
done
you block
that.
the road?
No, but I was walking towards their car please listen to me. Or if you're not going to stop, if you could turn around and let somebody know that,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way to go, man. If I was in desolate wilderness like that, I would be a
I
little bit
wasn't
more
gonna let-
fucking. We just thought somebody was going to stop for. We're somebody will fucking stop, and nobody did. And so we were well, let's just hike back to this PG&E building that we knew, up the road. It was probably 5 miles, up the road or something. So it wasn't that far. And we did that. We were hitchhiking along the way, but nobody gave a shit, So we finally got there, and right by the PG&E thing, there was a swim hole. So we went down there. We knew there'd be people there, so we went down there and told some people hey, call my girlfriend and tell her we're up here stuck when you get back to Chico. This is when I was in Chico, and I think somebody may have tried to call her, but she was just not by our phone. So we were up there all fucking day. I think the blowout happened. I was probably maybe 3-4 o'clock, and then we were up there till midnight, pretty much.
How'd you get home?
Finally, we went back to the PG&E building, and it was during 08, so there was lots of furloughing going on, or 09 or something.
It's all closed.
So it was all closed up and shit.
Damn,
We thought it
furlough
was
Friday.
we're we're gonna have to fucking break into
my
this
belts
shit
break on a fucking
and,
furlough Friday.
and try to make a phone call or something, because we're gonna be sleeping up here otherwise. We didn't have shit. We had a fucking Snickers bar.
You can be homeless.
We were eating the
that's
berries,
funny.
the blackberries on the side of the fucking, because it was Feather River was right there, so we were eating fucking blackberries and shared a Snickers bar for dinner, and yeah, we were fuck, I hope somebody got a hold of my girlfriend, and sure enough, nothing. We were up there for days, and
Just
then
waiting for some
finally
people to pick you up.
we were sitting out in front of across the street from the PG&E or whatever, Caltrans. It was Caltrans, actually, Caltrans building. And then finally this dude comes out of there.
Been in there the whole time?
Let
What are
his
you guys
dog take a
loitering
shit
for?
or something. And we ran over to him, and we're hey, we gotta we're stranded, and we gotta get make a phone call, and so he finally let us make a phone call,
Who'd you call then?
and my girlfriend, and she's I'm
She finally
did you get any
answered.
phone
No,
calls?
seriously.
We've been stranded up here.
Where
Are you
you
worried
been?
about me?
That's why we're exes. No.
Nah, but she nobody. I don't think she got the call, or maybe she didn't recognize it, so she didn't pick it up. And so yeah, finally
You
we
survived.
did get out of there, but
That's a terrible feeling.
it sucks. Yeah, we thought we were sleeping up there for sure.
I got a quick one, but it was on foot, where we went up to do the Rubicon, Desolation Wilderness. and we were gonna be rock rollers for the weekend. So like we hopped in with the Jeeps, and like you start going down, and I was like, I'll decide to walk it in, you know. And so I just like walked off, and the Jeeps left, and like I had a general idea where to go, you know, and like I probably took some acid or something too. So like just like went down, and like, you know, for a while I knew like I was going like in the right way, but it was like a long hike, you know. I'm not sure how long it was to drive in, but it was probably like in the 20-mile range in the Jeep. I'm not sure how long to hike, you know, maybe 25, 30 miles, who knows. But like, so like I knew I was out there, and like there's like all kinds of trails. I think was like, what? Okay, where are we? And finally it's getting like, oh shit, I'm kind of stuck out here. I'm not going to make it, you know, to camp tonight. And then like some couple came up in a little pickup truck. They were just cruising around, like not 4-wheel drive or anything. And I was like hopped in the back. Like,
How did they get up there if it wasn't 4-wheel drive?
well, they were like taking the main road. It was like there's dirt roads that go into where you can start to really 4-wheel. And so they took me to a spot where like, all right, we know this is where like the head it goes in, but they couldn't go any further, you know. So I was like, all right, here I go. So I hopped out of the back of their truck, and it's like, okay, this is as far as they can get me. So I just knew to hike down to the river, and then trying to start to make my way up the river.
Pick a direction to go.
Yeah, I kind of knew the general direction,
Yeah.
but there's so many fucking trails, and like main trails, and then other people's trails that like they carved, and like, so I was like, yeah, all right. So I just hiked down the hill for days, like finally made it to the river, you know, and it's like the trail was like gone. It's like, oh shit, you know. So I just hiked up the river, and it was like starting to get like dark, you know. And I was like, oh shit, well, I'm gonna have to camp out. Kind of like didn't really know from there what I was gonna do. But like they sent like a search party, or like some people like they start coming down the roads in their Jeeps like, like, hey, Dustin, and they're like, oh shit, you know, like
They sent a search party.
like it wasn't, like
They were saying your name?
yeah, like they found me, like, yeah, because I hopped out of the Jeep, and like I was gonna hike in and meet them there, and like that, thankfully they. Like when they were setting up camp, they're like, it's getting dark, like shit. Like you probably, I'm not sure how long they took, but they probably didn't take like till dark to get there.
Yeah.
I think they had been there a couple hours, and like, shit, it's getting dark. Like,
Yeah. Wow.
we better like start to like look, and like, yeah.
How
hopped
far
in.
away were you from there, from the camp?
It seemed like a long time, like way further than I thought.
Wow.
I think it seemed like it was a good hour of wheeling in, maybe. Yeah, 30 minutes to an hour. Because I was like, oh shit. Because I kept thinking I was right there, you know. It's like, I'm right there. And like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, that shit's crazy.
I made it and then spent the whole like weekend out there for a few days.
I have a story that's way even wimpier than Dustin's story. I was like with my family on a houseboat, and I was on what I thought was an island. We had a kayak, so I was like, I'm just gonna go paddle around the island. So start paddling, and you just going around.
What
and
lake were you on?
Lake Shasta. Probably not a good move. So I start paddling, and you just start turning corners, and you're just going. And eventually, you know, like you've been gone a long time, and you're like, is this an island?
You're like,
What
wait,
else?
this could be a continent.
It's a big lake. Yeah.
You get to the point where you're like, do I turn around or do I keep going? I kept going.
Oh shit.
I got
Hoping
to
for
one
what?
Point, hoping I was on an island. It doesn't seem like, thinking back, why would I have thought this was an island? This is
You were
like
just a kid? Or?
houseboat. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I wasn't that young. I was probably like 14 or whatever.
Yeah, that's a kid.
I was young and dumb. On Lake Shasta. I'd never seen a map of the river, so
Yeah.
keep paddling, and I finally was like, I think if I get out here, I can cut across and like hike and carry. It looked like it was like a peninsula I was avoiding, so I like carried the kayak across, and I did get back in the water, and I started paddling, And I kept paddling, and I did finally reach the other side of the island, and I found the other side of the boat.
So was it an island?
It was an island, but it, like, you know, looking back, maybe I got lucky. It probably shouldn't have been,
Huh. Wow, that's crazy.
but it took a long time. It took probably a couple hours on a kayak with somebody
Yeah.
who was probably the first time on a kayak.
We ever thinking like I can't paddle back? You're like arms are getting like
The only moment of like thinking like I don't know about this was when I was carrying it across the peninsula. But like it wasn't.
Yeah.
This was less than 2 hours. Probably
Oh.
like more like an hour, hour and a half. You know, wasn't it? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't-
you could fucking take forever to like.
And
You
I-
know.
yeah. So I didn't feel like I wasn't that worried about it.
Do we have time for one more? That reminded me of a story where when I was 11, I got stuck on the Yosemite River. Like me and my buddy, we went there with my dad and his friend. He had a son around my age. They're like, all right, we'll drop you guys off at this part of the river. And we had like basic like floaty fucking rafts or tubes or something. And they were going to go down here and like, you know, it's like hang out and drink beers and like fish. And we were supposed to float down to their spot, you know. So, like we hopped on
How
the
old
foot.
were you?
I was 11. My buddy was 12.
How cold was the water?
It was like I don't remember that till later. You know, like the water wasn't bad enough to like, but we hopped on and like, you know, like we were on the fucking river like all day. You know, like to where like our raft started to deflate and we're like shit. You know, and then we would hop off. We'd see like campgrounds and we'd like walk off like hey like no they're not here. You know, like we'd walk up and we hop back in the water. And like our rafts were starting to like, you know, deflate and like we were
You blow them up.
we tried like when we would walk up and yeah, they would stay, but they, yeah,
Was
I
it
don't
working?
remember what kind of.
That's kind of raft or what?
I think I'm not even
Oh, is
sure. It was so long ago, but it was kind of like an inner tube type thing, or
Oh, like a-
I had like an inner tube, circle tube, and he had like maybe like a pool raft, you know, like something fucking stupid.
Oh,
And like
Jesus.
we were going down like the fucking like Yosemite River, you know, and like so
class 5 rapids.
yeah, and like we
Class
probably
3
popped,
probably.
scratched it to a point, but we got to a point once again, like the sun was going down, and like we didn't find the people, and like the rangers would do their sweep on the river at sunset, and like have to clear everybody off, you know, the rafters and stuff. And they they finally found us, just like floating down the river, like paddling, like
What the
halfway in the water, like we just kept, we were going, you know, like we see people on the sides, like where it's like people camping, like at campsites and stuff, and like walk up, like nope, this is the spot. Hop back in the water, go down.
Did you end up passing your family or no?
We probably did, or we beat them to, you know, they dropped us off, and they're like, oh, we'll go to the spot,
Oh,
and like
you probably beat them.
I don't even remember what even happened, but we probably went past the spot where they were trying to get to, you know, like, and then, but we got cleared up by the rangers, and like they're like put us on a boat on a raft with like some like foreigners. I forget where they were from, but like, and we were cold as fuck, and we were shivering. And they go,
How did they find you?
the rangers do the sweep at
Like
at sunset.
walking, or how did
No,
they
they
on a
go
boat,
down
right?
the or their river rafts. Or, yeah, the river rafts at the end of the
They
night.
came
Like,
down the river.
they came down behind us, yeah, like
Okay.
clear, and they like just make sure everybody's like off the river. I think at sunset.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what was going on.
Okay.
But then they're like, oh shit, you know, we're looking for our dads, like what the fuck? And then they put us on like with these foreigners that were vacationing. And I remember like we were cold, shivering, and they're like, "Why you go? You know, like why you do that?" You know, I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm fucking cold as fuck, man!" Like, ugh. They didn't understand like shivering. I guess I don't remember if they were like Russian or Asian or whatever, but they were something that didn't understand shivering. Yeah, and I don't even.
Of all people you get stuck with when you're freezing cold.
Yeah, the Rangers put us on their boat, and I don't remember how we even ended up finding them.
Shivering's like a universal
That's what
language.
I thought so too, like laughing.
It seems like Russians
weird.
would know more about shivering than a lot of people.
I don't know that it even was, but it was just,
Maybe it was people from somewhere near the equator.
I don't know. Yeah.
Probably
But
not.
they couldn't understand our language, you know, and
Any chance it was just Mexicans?
no.
No. Well,
Yeah. Anyhow,
doesn't explain the shivering.
I don't know. But we survived again, once again at sunset. Wow.
Pretty big faux pas by your parents.
Dude, yeah. It was like stoner dad, like, yo, man, like, we'll drop you off.
Was it just your dad or your dad and your mom?
My dad and his buddy.
Your
And then
dad and his
and he
buddy.
brought me, and you know, and his buddy brought his son. He was
And
around my
it was
age.
just like an
It's like a
overnighter?
boys' trip, you
Was
know,
it
like-
overnighter?
I think we went up there for the weekend or something. And it was like as we left, they would do the fire over Half Dome or something, like,
Oh,
or the
yeah.
or Angel Falls. You know, they would
I know
do
you're
the
talking about the fire falls.
they do the
but
fire fall, yeah, before.
You missed that. Your
Well, I
parent-
watched
your
it driving out, you know,
Oh, you didn't watch it
because it's like the end. They do it like the end of the weekend or whatever. But that's part of the cool shit.
Your dad and his buddy wanted to smoke a bowl, so they dropped you guys off. for a
Exactly,
couple
yeah.
minutes.
As they're hiding
meet
behind
you-
a tree,
Yeah,
you go
we'll
right
meet
by
you
'em on
there.
the river.
Yeah, probably the fish. But
Well,
it was fun. Pretty
it's a
fun.
good story.
I still
yeah.
don't remember how I found them, but
It's
that was an interesting trip.
the worse the experience, the better the story. That's why like your story is the best story of the night. 'Cause it was
Yeah.
a horrible experience.
Yeah,
There does come a point where it gets too much, but yours, you know,
Mine was right on the
It
edge.
was a happy ending, you know.
yeah, the happy ending always helps.
you didn't have to chop a limb off or anything.
Yeah.
Well, it was nice that the first vehicle that I did see
Yeah.
ended up being 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, how
There could have been
deflating
a
was
story
that?
of like you trying to stop a vehicle, getting hit by a car, and then crawling to the next person to help you.
Oh gosh.
Yep.
Damn. Well, did you guys enjoy the jam tonight?
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Bringing it back in.
Forgot we
I think
jammed.
so. They'll
Reel
segue
this
around.
back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I thought it was
The jam seems so trivial now.
Yeah.
well. I think
You have
when
a lot
you
of equipment
jam
in here.
Well, when you're jamming on a weekly basis, you gotta get a lot of flashing lights and tube amps.
Well, fellas, another successful night of the mystery school.
Yeah,
I'd
thanks
say.
for coming out, everybody.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
man.
hitting me up.
I think this was a
Time for
success.
bed, yeah. I think at this point, what are we looking at? Like one?
Bedtime stories.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for tuning in, everybody.
All right. Good night.
Peace.